So, fretboard slotted. The stemming rods are already in. Slide the truss rod. It's time to line this thing up. So I'm got a center line on it, center line on the neck. Make sure I got that. Don't need to finish that one. And I can line this, drill a couple of holes for some locating pins to keep it in the right spot when I glue it so it doesn't slip. And we'll get this neck put on here. Yep, should work. Great. My secret weapon, a lot of times for lining things up, is, especially on this dark wood, I can't see the lines, and the white pencil I have just keeps wiping off. So I've got it on there, but my secret weapon is this laser level here that I've got for doing stuff around the house. And I think you can just see the line right there. Turn the lights out for a second. Hopefully that showed up better. What I can do is I can look right down here. I can see that I'm on my line right here, on my line at this end, and it's coming right down the middle of the slot for the truss rod. So my marks are good, nice and straight, even across, and that's a handy little thing to buy for $35. Check the lines. So anyway. Pilot holes in the headstock. It's a little jig I have that keeps it flat and steady when I'm doing it. Now we'll drill the 10 millimeter hole partway through. Flip it over to on this side. So I've got the body top and bottom put together, but they're only held together by a couple of screws, one that goes with the bridge and one that goes with the neck. So they'll all be routed out anyway, or won't show. And the sides are smooth, top and bottom, so they're in alignment. Roughly smooth. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start cutting the back portion of it, getting ready to route out for the control cavity. I've got that all marked off. You can see I've got the, I don't know if you can see on this dark wood, it's kind of hard to see. I got my bridge laid out. I got to lay out lines on the back for the other, so let's get started doing that. So just routing out the rest of the control cavity and see how that goes. It should be going pretty good. So I'm going to just unscrew the top and the bottom. the way, this bubinga is so dense and so hard that I don't always have to do this. I've done it with maple, but this is even harder than that. When I put those screws in, I did wax them pretty good so that they would lubricate threads, because the last thing you want to do when you put something like that together is to have it screw head snap off, and then you got work ahead of you. Okay, so you can see plowed out the chambers with a Forstner bit from top and bottom. And we're just going to route out the cavities. So we've got the back and the top routed out, chambered. Lines up good with the pickup cavity. Put in the holes for the pots, and now what I'm doing is I'm lining this up, and since these 5-way switches are real simple to use when you're putting them on the back of a thin pick guard, but when you're putting them through wood, you have to be a little bit careful. So I'm doing some extra marking out here because it will be easier for me to possibly take the route down on the inside just a little bit further to make sure that I have the clearance for this when I get it in there. So that's what I'm doing now. And what I'll probably do is just go ahead and come in here. I've got it marked on the inside where it needs to. So now I've got all marked out. I've got my Dremel tool out, and now I'm going to do some holes drilled along the line where the blade needs to come through. So here's the bottom half of the body, and I've just routed in these channels for the pickups to be wired. That way when I sink in the little divots for the pickups, then be able to run the wiring right. Got it clamped up. Obviously I need to go out and buy a couple more clamps, but I'd save that for next time. Anyway, now I've got the glue up done, so now I just need to refine this combination here to get the edge just right all the way around, and we'll do that on the spindle sander. So running a test for this, I decided I really like the look of turquoise against this bubinga when it's going to be oiled up, and which I think it looks pretty cool. So I just routed a couple of odd cavities here. Tried both the turquoise crushed and the turquoise powder. That's this one. And then tried the turquoise crushed with some aluminum powder in it. And I'll try to get a little closer here where you can see it. And I'm not leaning towards that. It's a little iffy telling what you're going to get. You can't tell till you get it sanded down. And so I'm probably going to go with this, but you can see the individual grains of the turquoise, which is what I was going for, want to have. So looks like the logo will be the turquoise crushed stone, and then I'm going to use aluminum tubing for the markers, and I will fill that with the turquoise powder. And so I've just cut out a piece of 16-inch aluminum as part of the inlay for the 12th fret. As I've mentioned before, it's going to be kind of a silver aluminum and turquoise. The inlay scheme on the neck anyway, not necessarily on the headstock. And so this is going to be just a little silver mountain range with a little... Okay, so I'm routing out now for the inlay on the headstock, and for that, for my logo, I have a little template here that I use with a guide so that I get that part nice and sharp every time, and then I just have to make sure I do a good job of the inlay. In this case, it's going to be some crushed turquoise, so it's not going to have to be cut. But so there, I get the manning all set up for the neck. In, good, straight, down the middle, So now I can get on with basic. I've got a card at the back of the neck, radius fretboard, and I'm going to add here on the top. I've got some flame maple I put in there. The cover is going to be flame maple too. I haven't decided if I'm going to stain it or not or leave it natural. I may stain it dark, not as dark as the body, but darker than just straight. And then a belly carve, and I got a comfort carve here across the front that I usually do. So I'm working on the shaping of the heel connection here at the body, and I put a nice contour in here, but what I really prefer for these kind of bolt-ons is for this to kind of be asymmetric this way. In other words, where I'm going to grab it this way, I'm going to try to take some of this off, round it off, you know, just make it a little bit more comfortable. So I'm just going to do that with my rasps and files and then some sandpaper and try to get this where I feel like it'll feel the best. So I'm going to use a tilt of the table here on my isolating spindle sander and work on a access curve at the top there, or at the lower bout, so I can get access to higher frets. There's the access carve. I fine-tuned with a little hand sanding, some rasps and files. A little bit more to do right there. But yeah, that should allow plenty of access, no problem. All right. So what I like to do is mark, in this case with dark wood, I'll mark with a white marker where I want to go. Guidelines, just rough guidelines. And if you remember, I've chamfered this around the edge, all the way around actually. What I like to do is to have a 1/4 inch carve on the top, and to do that around here, what I'm going to do is turn this chamfer into a smooth curve around here back to a hard chamfer on this end. The offset double cutaway, I take a little bit more away on the upper bout and the lower bout. So I get started with the carving. You can start to feel where it's at, and if I'll bring the camera in closer when I'm done, you'll see there's just a thin bit of white left around here as my witness line, so I know I haven't gone too far down the sides. And if you go a little further, it's not too bad. You can clean everything up to look nice and tidy with the sandpaper, especially this stuff. See, I just got into the maple, and that's where my channels are at for the wiring. So all taken care of. I don't have to come through the neck, not that that's a huge problem, but saves me a bit of work there. So, glad to have that done.